the students did not like me because I was not Miss Howell. I don't know if you knew Miss Howell. She was the one who had this office previous to me. She's very maternal. I'm not very maternal. I'm like your aunt, you know? So, like, I can give love and nurturing, but I'm in a way, I'm like, yo, you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your business. I'm not going to, you know, embrace and coddle you. That's not my personality. So I think that shift was a challenge for me. And I think it was a challenge for the group to keep going and to keep moving and to trust that I was still behind them, you know, and that I still wanted them to do it, but that I wasn't the same person and that it was going to be okay. Mm-hmm. So I think that was definitely a challenge last year. And then that situation with the painting, it seemed like there were a couple of other things that happened last night, but that painting thing stood out. And then some things that students told me, like on the down low, kind of was like, for me, I was like, wow. So how do we address these kinds of things when I can't really openly say it, but I have to figure out a way to address the idea, so I have to make this specific thing part of a bigger thing so that people can at least figure out how to get to this point of addressing that.
So you think the painting, last year's painting situation was, like, you think that was good in terms of our school's
growth? I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, on one level, it was bad. Like, wow, why would you? Why would you do that? But on the other hand, it made people talk about the issue more,
right?
And feel okay talking about it and figuring out how to talk through it,
right?
So that's why I think sometimes this whole idea of being politically correct and, you know, I don't see color and all that stuff is so whack because first of all, it's not honest.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really help us to get to the question of why would you say you don't see color, or why would you take down a picture of somebody else's creativity?
Right.
You know, like we need to get to the bottom of what that really means. Like what's going on? So I think you know, sometimes that politically correct thing gets
in the way.
I do. I'd rather someone just be honest so we can deal with the situation.
Okay. Do you have any idea what time it is? I actually have to.
You gotta go.
I don't know if I have to go or not.
You've been talking for a while. It's 3:25.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
I need powder on my forehead. It's so shiny. I must not have any.
So pores. What do you think? What do you enjoy more? Your teaching, or do you enjoy your job as the diversity director?
The only reason I'm sighing is because I've only been doing this is my second year.
Right.
And my first year, I was teaching too much. I felt. I was teaching 3 classes, and then I was doing this job. And I think it kind of, it was. I think they kind of reinforce each other in a way. Because if I was the diversity director and I didn't have a lot of interaction with students,
then you would feel disconnected from the community.
I would definitely feel disconnected because I wouldn't, you know, be there knowing about so.
So they kind of interconnect. They're hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
How do you implement your diversity work in your classroom?
Well, that's a good question. English, it's so easy. Because I get to choose stories. And so the stories that I choose, I try to choose a variety of different authors from different places and different subject matters. So I try to get writing that explores different issues. So that's easy. But I'll give you an example. Like there was this situation where this boy in this class, he's not very good at speaking. Like it's hard for him to get his words out. And one day, these boys were like kind of laughing at him and telling him to shut up, you know. And so I stopped the class and said, you know, that's just not
right.
Yeah. And we talked about why. It was so funny, like no one would admit who said it. So I said, who said it? Who said it? They were all like. And so we talked about it, you know, how, you know, everybody has a gift. Everybody has an ability to do something. It's not always the same. And we need to be patient with each other, you know, and love each other and say, okay, well, maybe I can be a better speaker. Maybe I can help him find his words, or maybe I should just be patient, because he's gonna find his words if we're patient and allow him to speak. Let him speak. But that's like a difference of ability, which there are 8 different identifiers for diversity, and ability is one. So that was an example of that. So
this is kind of not related. This is related to McDonough here. What's your favorite spot on campus?
Oh my gosh, my favorite spot. Well, I like in Kilty. There's this glassed-in space in Kilty, and in the winter, when the sun comes through the glass, it is so warm and it's so bright. And so I feel like I'm getting kind of a suntan, like sitting there. And then another place that I really like is right through there, this time of year, and just sitting on one of those benches right by the monument. And where else do I like? There's another spot that's down by the terrace that no one really goes to. I don't know why people don't go to the terrace except for graduation. But it's nice down there.
Yeah.
And there's still some places I haven't explored. Like, I haven't gone to the stream. But people tell me I should go over there.
Yeah. Have you been, explored into the diversity of other high schools and seen what their status was, talked to other diversity program leaders? And where do you think McDonough stands?
A couple of years ago, I went to the Summer Diversity Institute, and that one was held in Virginia, and that was great. People from all over the country came to Virginia. Some of them were teachers, some of them were administrators, but they were all interested in diversity, and it was kind of like a summer camp. So we were all, in there for diversity, and we'd go to our classes, go to our sessions, then hang out at night and talk about, specific situations. So from that, one of the things I've seen is that our school has a position, it has some money, it has an organization, student organization, it has some teachers that want to do it. And other schools, sometimes there might be 5 people that want to do it, and they're doing, everything. But our school is a little bit more advanced than that. We have a position, we have a student organization, we have teachers. But then there's some schools where ideas about gender difference and sexual orientation are in the curriculum. And so everybody learns it from K to 12. We're not there yet. And part of the reason, sometimes when I talk to Mr. Britton, he says, well, we really need to look at our demographics. Like, who are the families that send their kids to McDonough? Are they the extremely liberal folk? No.
Well, there are a lot.
There are a lot. But not...
More moderate, I would say.
Exactly. So that's what he's saying.
There's very few, true, I'm a pretty strong conservative, and I came from Loyola,
okay,
where almost everybody else was conservative.
Conservative, okay.
And I feel like it's more towards a little bit left of moderate.
Okay.
But and then there's some real liberals, and then there's very few. I feel there's very few conservatives.
Okay.
I mean, Mr. Mahan, he's clearly pretty conservative. Mr. Motzko. Other than that, I haven't really met Mr. Van. I'm pretty sure. He went up. I remember he went up and shook Joe's hand. It was pretty funny. Yeah. He's he gave him a soft handshake, and Mr. Van's you shake hands like a Democrat. I thought that was pretty funny.
That is funny. Oh gosh. So our population is moderate, so we're not going to be, all the way over there.
Right.
And so in understanding that, and then the most important thing really is that we are preparing leaders. That's what we do here.
Right.
We're manufacturing. This is a factory where we're manufacturing leaders. Leaders today have to have awareness of difference, and that it's okay, and that it's positive. Because what are some of these business teams? They have someone from Taiwan, have someone from Peru, they have someone from the United States, they have someone from China, they have someone from the Philippines, they have someone...
Right.
And so if you are someone who, really has a hard time with that, then most likely you're not going to be successful. You won't be able to make the big bucks.
Right.
And I think the more and more we're able to show how having an awareness of diversity translates into money, then I think there will probably be, more interest, especially among boys.
Right.
Because most young men, they don't really participate in the things that we do. It's mostly women. Mm-hmm. So if you're a guy and you really want to find a lot of babes, you should go to some of these diversity conferences. There's a lot of girls, a lot of really smart girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. There needs to be more guys because, you're going to be in those rooms with people who are different and you got to know how to talk to them.
Right. Right. So, what do you feel about, this is a question related, how do you feel about, we talked about, you were just talking about how, like, coping with different countries.
Mm-hmm. Multicultural.
There's been argued, like, I've had discussions with teachers that, like, the students in China and Germany, Denmark, have, their education system is better than ours. Because their math and science, like, they emphasize more math and science rather than maybe languages and more cultured experience classes. What do you think about? What's your view on that?
That is a question that I think we definitely need to address, and I think the question is, I think we need to qualify what is better. In other words, what does better mean when we say in education? Because on the one hand, as you were talking, I was thinking about, okay, so people who are doing science and engineering, and they're from China or from Germany, and they have a project, or they get, a project. Most likely they're going to ask their friends to come. So their awareness of the world and who they are and all the other people is going to be diminished. So whatever they've been educated for, they're still not going to be as rich as other people who have gotten the science and math and engineering, but then also have an understanding of the richness of cultures. In addition, one of the things that I think they're missing out on, that America definitely is focusing on or trying to focus on, and that's creativity.
Right.
Because that's one of the things America has been known for. We invent stuff, other people copy it. And that's really the way the world has been turning for a long time.
Right.
And so I think that if our educational institutions could really focus on what we do well and keep doing that well, there's no doubt that we're going to continue to be successful and continue to have leaders in engineering and science and math and technology and all of those fields.
You could say that we do a good job creating creative people in a lot of our schools, creating, like, free minds. But there's an argument that, that it is important that we need to build our science and math to compete with them, because while we might be manufacturing lots of leaders, not everybody can be leaders. We need, in a society, you need more workers than you do leaders. So what do you think about that argument?
I think about, is it Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs and some of those other people learned science and tech and were also innovative. So I think we need to help to create more people like that. Okay, so I still am pushing that. But on the other hand, I totally agree with you. I think that we need to maybe revolutionize. I don't want to say revolutionize. We need to change the way that we think about our workforce. And then once we understand how our workforce is changing, we'll understand how to educate them differently. Because I firmly believe that when you graduate from high school, you need to have a skill. And I know I feel that way because my family is mostly working class. And so, when I was in high school, I was always working. I always had, some kind of gig. My oldest daughter is a writer. My middle daughter is a dancer. My younger daughter, I'm hoping she gets some photography and Photoshop skills that she can take. Even though she's going to a college prep, you never know what's going to happen. So I agree. I think what you're saying is true. I don't think it is an either or, though. I think we need to take stock of what kind of jobs are needed and say, okay, what do we need to do with our education to make that real?
Okay.
And definitely, so I don't know. Did I answer that?
Yeah, okay. I think you did.
You're done.
What time is it?
It's time. Let's stop it.